I'm here today to kind of bridge that gap of digital decisions and how they need to drive that business growth, not just in branding, but through the story of numbers. And who better to talk to is finance leaders that understand numbers create a story. Okay. So let's jump back to the joke. What was the problem? The problem wasn't that the marketing director wanted more budget. It was that the marketing director couldn't prove their ROI. And that's what I see daily in digital strategy. Companies spend money on websites, they spend money on ads, they spend money on social media, but they never have that clear finance-driven strategy um, to measure their actual impact. So how many of you actually know, and you can drop this in the chat because I know a lot of you are off camera, but how many of you actually know where your paid advertising is? How much do you know if your website is making an ROI? So let me switch over to my slides now. There we go. In the chat, I want you to drop how involved are you currently in your company's digital marketing decisions? One, we invest in digital, but we can't see our ROI. Two, we generate traffic, but conversion rates are low. Three, we rely on paid advertising, but instead of organic strategies. Or four, I don't know. I just approve the budget. And I'm trying to find the chat room. Give me 1 second. I went to share and everything disappeared. There we go. Awesome. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that, if you don't mind. Drop the numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. 2, we generate traffic, but conversion rates are low. That's a good one. 2, conversion rates 2. Awesome. A lot of conversion rates are low. Thank you guys for that. So now that we know where we're at, we're going to break down what we need to be looking at. With anything in marketing, we need to understand the goal of it. It doesn't matter if we're on websites. It doesn't matter if we're on social media. It doesn't matter if we're in our email. If we do not know the goal of our marketing, then we cannot create that path and we cannot create that story of numbers to get there. So what do we want to achieve with our websites? Do we want to generate high quality leads and turn them into sales? Do we want to drive more quote requests? Do we want to educate our customers? And so we shorten the sales cycle. Or are we need to position the company as an industry leader to build trust and credibility? Once we know our goal, this is where we can start breaking down and looking at the numbers. So we need to, there are 3 points in every marketing campaign that you need to look at. We need to look at the attract, we need to look at the engage, and we need to look at the conversion. If we look at only one of these, we are not looking at the full picture. Now, you can look at these high level numbers and be able to tell, but your marketing department should be breaking these down further to even see where the gaps are. But if we put this in manufacturing terms, our attract is our input. What are we putting into the system? Okay. If we are getting a lot of traffic to our website, but not conversion, well, it may be because we have a bunch of unqualified traffic. The next step is, okay, we have our traffic in place. How efficient are they? Are they staying on the website or are they just bouncing off of the website after 15 seconds? And then if we add these two together, that is going to create our output. So we need that attraction of traffic, because if we don't have traffic, we can't convert. We need them to engage, because if they're not engaging, now they're just window shopping. And we need both of these to create that conversion, that output that we're looking for. And feel free, if you have questions as I'm going through this, feel free to jump in and chat with me. I'm happy to answer any questions throughout this session. So let's start breaking those down. We have our traffic. With our traffic, we want to ensure that we are attracting the right visitors. If we're not attracting the right visitors, that's like sending one of your top sales reps into a conference room that, let's use Mary Kate as an example. You're sending them into a Mary Kate conference. How many sales conversations do you think he's going to have where he's actually selling? Mary Kay not selling to your sales rep, but your sales rep being able to sell to your Mary Kay. That's what this like. If we're not looking at the type of traffic we're going into, it's like sending your sales rep into a conference where he can talk to no one and he cannot generate any leads. Okay. So the first thing we want to look at is unqualified traffic. Do you have a lot of visitors, but they aren't decision makers? So this means we're looking at keyword strategy. We're looking at our content. We're looking at who's coming, where are the sources coming from. What we often see is that we get a lot of job seekers on your website. So you're getting a lot of employees, which is great because you can bring that funding down for Indeed.com or whatever recruiting platform you're on. So it is great to get those, but our end goal is not to have a recruiting website. Our end goal is to have clients convert. The other reason is you have low volume. So you don't have enough potential customers that are even reaching that site. If you don't have enough customers, then it's hard to even engage them and get them to convert. And your last one is you have an over-reliance on paid ads. And I see this one a lot where manufacturing companies, they just turn on the paid ad faucet and they don't balance it with with SEO. And when you do that, what happens is you're playing a short-term game versus creating an SEO platform where people are automatically, organically attracted to your brand, that to stabilize this paid advertising. So as a finance leader, we're not supposed to be that CMO, because if we try to start playing CMO in a finance seat, they're going to look at us and be like, well, keep on playing with those numbers over there. We're going to go keep playing our crayons. But what we can do is we can ask the right questions to gear them in the right way. So if you have unqualified traffic, ask them where the traffic is coming from. Are visitors coming from the right industry? And what this should prompt your marketer to do is examine your traffic sources and your keywords. If you have a low volume, the question you could ask is, why isn't enough potential business finding us? Audit your SEO. Have your content campaign strategy going. Create new campaigns that maybe you're missing a gap somewhere and miss an opportunity to push traffic to your website. And your last one is paid ad dependency. How can we reduce dependence on paid traffic? Well, we develop organic growth strategies, such as creating referrals, using your email, social media, and podcast.
Hey, Jessica, question on the SEO. I had been told in the past always that it takes quite some time to build that up. What is kind of your experience or your opinion about how long that will take and potentially also how much it will cost to get a good SEO out there?
It completely depends on your market and competition. So if you have a highly specific niche and you are very local to the area, it is going to be a lot easier to grab that SEO ranking versus being a global manufacturing company that is competing with other top end manufacturing companies. So it very much depends. Cost really much depends. Now, what I say is it is better to start today on creating that organic SEO, even if you do not have that content strategy. Look at your sales conversations. What kind of questions are your customers asking, and turn that into content that goes on your website, because you can always turn on that paid advertising faucet, but not starting on your SEO is like losing time. Okay. You can't go back in time and create that organic SEO, but you can always have a starting point to move forward and build off of. No, if we're not ready to hire that SEO content strategist to come in, what we can do is start building that content by ourselves. There are tools like Temi that will transcribe. Say you've recorded that sales conversation. You can take it and transcribe that. And now with tools like AI, you can take that conversation and say, hey, here's a transcription of the conversation, turn this into a blog post. And now we have an immediate blog post that we can pull over into the website and post there. You can even take that blog post and say, okay, AI, turn this into a LinkedIn post. Now we're starting to repurpose content and push it into different digital strategies. Hey, AI, turn this into an email campaign. Now we have a sequence of emails we can send out. So always be thinking about how can I gather content, put it on the website for people to see, and then repurpose it out to different networks. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes. No, that was really helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. So over reliance and paid ads. So this, if you turn on ads too soon, you can become dependent on ads and not have that SEO in place. If you're in this situation where the marketing director is continually asking for more ad spend, this is a red flag to say, okay, hold on. How is our content strategy going? How is our organic? And let's see how that balances out. If you have 80% more, 80% of your traffic is coming from paid advertising, that means your SEO strategy is lopsided, and we need to even that out. But you cannot turn that faucet off right at the beginning. You need to build that platform. And there's other strategies I'm going to go over if you're having that problem later in the presentation. So any questions about traffic and getting it to your to the website before I move on? Awesome. Well, let's move into engagement. So we have the perfect world. And now we have all the traffic coming to our website, both paid advertising, both organic. What do we do next? We have to look at our engagement. So just in social media, you want people to stick on your post and you want them to engage and comment and react. It's the same thing with your website. You need to give them something to do to engage them, to keep them on. What happens if they bounce off? So your first problem is we see high bounce rates. So a visitor leaves after viewing only one page. That's kind of like them coming into your showroom, taking a look around, not saying hi to everyone, and bouncing out. SEO looks at it, the bots for SEO, they look at this as, hey, this site looks pretty on the outside. You have a very nice storefront on the outside, but the actual info on the inside of the website is not relevant to what they were searching for. And that will dock your organic SEO. So we want to make sure that when people come into your website, that they stick there, that they engage, and they look at a couple pages before they move on. Now, In today's world, they may come visit your website 3 to 4 times before they actually engage with you. So we need to ensure that we have different points of engagement to pull them into your digital ecosystem. Your next problem you see is low time on site. So they don't stay along. They come in and they kind of scroll the homepage. It's more than just a bounce. A bounce is you look in and you jump out. Low time is they come in, they look at a page, and then they exit out. This shows you that there is a messaging problem somewhere on your homepage. You're not giving them the information they need to stick around to go deeper into the website. And then the last problem we see is that there's no clear next step. There are so many websites out there that they'll look beautiful. You'll make it to the end and they do not have a call to action of, hey, ask us for a quote, get on a call with us. And now more than ever, it's so important to have a one-click solution. So if you're wanting them to schedule a call, instead of putting that form, put a Calendly calendar in there so they can align their schedule. And now you're capturing them on your calendar instead of just a form. If you have a lead magnet on there, make sure that they can immediately download it afterwards and they're not waiting to get that information into their inbox. There are different points of CTAs where we have to ensure that they are there, because if you have someone on your website, they're browsing, they need that interrupter to say, okay, let's take the next step. We like what you're looking at, but let's take that next step. So if you see any of these problems, the questions, oh, sorry, we have a question. Have you ever read through your company's homepage like you would a customer, like a potential customer? In the chat, write yes or no. Bonnie, you want to come online and tell us what you thought of your website as you read through it?
Oops, sorry. Mine's very simple. I put my own website together, so not much there.
Okay,
Just basic information.
okay.
And that's
What was the goal of the website?
it's kind of everybody has one, so here I am. And for people to take me more seriously, because initially when I'd set up my own consulting gig, everybody thought it was just a front I had while I was in between jobs, and that really was not the case. And so it's not a huge website, it's a few pages, and that's kind of the intent.
Okay, awesome. And that's perfectly fine to get your brand out there. And sometimes that's all you need is if you have traffic coming through your LinkedIn, if you have your other sources as sales development tools, it is okay to have that website that kind of just makes you more official. If we go back to the beginning where I said, hey, look at your business growth. Does this investment drive your business growth? And if the answer is no, we want to invest somewhere else. Several years ago, I was working with a tech change management company. And they said, we want to go after SEO. I said, great. Who are your competitors? Who do you want to beat? They said, these are our competitors right here. And they're huge global tech project management, change management companies. I said, okay, this is what it's going to take to get there. And they looked at the numbers and they said, I see your number. We're going to take those marketing dollars and invest it into a sales system, because we think that is going to be the most efficient way to grow our business. I said, great. And she said, we're going to keep this on the side. We're going to continue to push content to stay relevant, but we're not going to go after SEO. I said, perfect. You have to look at where your marketing dollars go and drive it to where your best, where it is going to drive your revenue. Now, a year ago, that company sold and was acquired into a larger company. So their job, they looked at the numbers, they saw where their marketing dollars needed to be spent, and they chose wisely, okay? So for finance leaders, questions you should be asking yourself. Are your visitors staying long enough to understand our value? If you have a high bounce rate, the first thing you need to look at is your statement, your first 10 words on your website. What people are looking for, unless you're like Apple or unless you're like Elon Musk kind of thing. Everyone knows who you are. Your first 10 words need to tell people who you serve, what you do, and who specifically you are, what problem you solve. If you cannot put that in 10 words, your bounce rate is going to be high. Okay, so we have a pump manufacturing company here in Springtown. They create pumps for oil and gas. So on their website, we create excellent, I forget the exact words, but excellent pumps for the oil and gas space. So that way they know the traffic that is going to come to them. Instantly, they're going to qualify or disqualify leads for that company. If they are low time on site, are they navigating past the home page? That's when we need to examine our messaging or our user experience. User experience, if your website's not loading in 3 seconds, we need to take a look at that and see how can we get this website to load faster, because people today wants things instantly. So if this isn't the 1990s where we'll wait for dial-up internet and wait for the website to load, we want it instant. If we are having a fast load time, then we'll look at messaging and see, okay, what things are they hitting on? Maybe we need to take it to LinkedIn and test some messaging to see what engages our audience and bring it back into our website to achieve that. And the last one is no clear step. Every single page should have a call to action. Review your event actions in your Google Analytics. Are people clicking on them? You can set up specific code snippets in Google Analytics, connect it to your buttons on your websites so you can actually see where people are clicking. If you want to take it one step further, you can install heat maps. And heat maps will show you how they are scanning your website, where the mouses are going, where are they clicking, where are they spending the most time. So heat maps can show you, hey, your visitor is dropping off right here in the website page. Let's move your call to action up a little further, see if we can get them connect. Or what do we need to move right here to get them to convert? Any questions on engagement before we've been? Cool. Let's keep on moving on. So we've made it through engagement. We've made it through traffic. We now can talk conversion. Everyone wants to talk conversion at the startup. We can't talk about that unless we have that traffic and unless we have that engagement. So problems we see on the conversion is RFQ forms. Are they too complicated? If you're using your personal website, are your forms too complicated or are they too hidden? Or sometimes I see, okay, schedule an appointment. That leads to a contact us page. but there isn't a specific form that says schedule an appointment. It says contact us. Okay, we want consistent messaging throughout the whole website. Is there clear pricing or value proposition? Especially right now with a younger generation, they at least want to know a ballpark of pricing on your website. You don't have to open everything up. I know some of us customize our packages and pricing, but say, hey, at a minimum per month, this is how much we charge for our services. That will also disqualify the people that you don't want to be working with. And your last portion is lack of trust building content. Everyone says that content is dead. Blogging is dead because AI has taken over. But think about this. If content was dead, if we took all websites off of the internet, what would AI run off? I mean, all this content that's fed into AI, you have just taken AI's brain away. So while people are saying content is dead, I say it's more alive than ever. And it's more alive in the sense of knowledge base content. Because as 2025 comes in, you'll start seeing more AI chatbots, and you'll see people having conversations with AI. And guess where the AI is pulling the data from? AI is pulling the data from your website so they can answer it correctly. And if you don't have that content up, you don't have your sales conversations in there, you don't have your how-tos in there, then that AI bot may give a wrong answer. So content is not dead. We do need that trust building content as well. I was just talking about AI. People are getting a little bit hesitant in trusting people. So we need those real stories. We need those testimonials. We need those case studies, and we need those guarantees. You should always, people make decisions with emotions, okay? So if you can emotionally tie them in with your website, followed by logic and back into emotional before they convert, now it's just a conversation when they get to you and convert to say, hey, we actually like you. Are we a good fit to work with you? So I went really deep into websites. And when Chris asked me to come in here, he was like, I don't want all of websites. I was like, okay, I will do other digital strategy, but there is a reason why I started with websites, and there is a reason why I focus on websites. Websites are the core of internet. And if you can understand the path of how a visitor works on a website, how to attract them to your website, how to convert them, and how to engage them on their website, then you can replicate that in any digital system in your ecosystem. So whether you're going to social media, whether you're going to email, whether you're going to texting, if you can prove that it works on your website, which is probably one of the harder in this saturated world, it's a harder way to generate leads versus going on LinkedIn and just posting a bunch of content. If you can nail this portion of your digital strategy now, then now it's just replicating what you did on your website and repurposing it out into your LinkedIn, into your email campaigns, and into your paid ads. So with that, let's break it out off of the website. And how are we doing on time, Chris?
We're doing fine. We still have about 20 minutes, putting Q&A at the end.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to run through these. There are many strategies. I would highly recommend getting with a CMO or a digital strategist to see what fits into your ecosystem. If you're using it for yourself personally, We want a digital strategy that works with you, not against you. So some people are like, I don't want to do LinkedIn. I don't want to be the face of my company. Great, let's find a different solution to where we are going on and guest blogging. Okay, guest blogging is where you find a partnership, you go write an article and put it on someone else's website. And then it links back to your website, making you the authority. And there are things where you can trade partnerships. So say Melanie has she's in marketing, Chris is in finance. Okay, Chris goes and talks on Melanie's website about finance and how it structures with marketing in the manufacturing space. And then Melanie comes back in and talks about marketing and how it affects finances on Chris's space. Now you have two websites that are connected together and your guys are pushing your authority up. There's also ways where you can go and look for broken links on websites. So articles that have already been published, but the web, for some reason, the website has gone down and there's a broken link in their article. You can reach out to those content creators and say, hey, I see you have a broken link. I have an article over here on my website. Over on my website, can we relink this? Because that dead link on your website isn't helping you in SEO. It's actually hurting you. You're getting docked because you're sending people out to a website that doesn't exist anymore. So there are ways to go out and search for those links. Yes, Melanie, it is a great way to network. It's kind of like the old school podcasting. So podcasting this day and age, they'll bring their guest onto their podcast to network. Before that, they had guest blogging. So you would work together to network your websites together. And they just took it to the next level in podcasting, being audio and video and YouTube and all that good stuff. Which brings into, hey, if we don't want to write, if we're more vocal, let's go podcast. Let's go guest on podcast. YouTube is one of the largest podcasting platforms. The great thing about this is if you're listed on YouTube, now not only are you showing up in content, you're showing up in video and you're showing up in written and you're showing up auditory. Now you've hidden all three senses of people. You've hidden the auditory people, you've hit the visual people, and you've hit the people that like to read. Okay. Remember again, if your traffic is coming from not coming from SEO and it's coming from paid ads, look at that weight, see if it's unbalanced and start pushing SEO. LinkedIn and social selling. If you are not on LinkedIn, I would say you're missing out. If your sales reps are not on LinkedIn, I would say you're missing out. And the reason I say you're missing out is because LinkedIn has become, it's moved beyond, hey, let me go find a job. It's now, let's go network and see what business we can do together. To use an example, I launched a comment strategy where I would use 10 comments a day. I would go post on specific people's posts. One of them was in supply chain. The ISM convention was coming to Grapevine. And before that, I was commenting on her post and I realized she's coming up to Grapevine, Texas, which is right down the road from me in Dallas. And so I said, hey, I see you're coming up where I'm only 30 minutes away. Let's go get a coffee. And the next thing you know it, I'm not at the conference, but I'm at every single after dinner that she had planned as an influencer, speaking to the lead supply chain influencers in the industry. For 3 nights, I sat with dinners with them. I didn't even go after conference. And if you know, at conferences, the conversations don't actually happen in the conference. They happen after the conference. Okay. Those are the conversations. So you don't even have to highly engage, be one of these influencers that's putting content out there to gain traction on LinkedIn. You just need to know what audience you want to be talking to, who your target market is, and who you need to be talking to, and start commenting on them. Now, I wouldn't say go be completely silent. I would say do one post. If you're doing one post a week on LinkedIn, you're posting more often than about 80% of the other people on LinkedIn, okay? That's how drastic that statistic is. Also, on LinkedIn, there has to be a personal side. My favorite posts are when you can take a personal story and weave it into business, okay? That's how a lot of people get traction, is they hook you in with a story about their personal life, and they lead it into business and intertwine it into what they actually do. Any questions on LinkedIn? Ooh. Last one, email marketing. This is where I see the most ROI. How many of you, drop in the chat, how many of you use email marketing in your systems today? Chris, I know you do. I get your stuff all the time. So
Somehow, probably not optimized, but
so email marketing is good for retargeting. It's good for keeping engaged. A lot of people are like, I don't want to bother them with an email. I don't want to be that other person. There are strategies now that I've seen cold outreach instead of being a cold pitch email. Now cold email strategy has turned into cold nurture strategy. It's like one huge PR game. And that PR will educate the person. They're sending useful information to a cold prospect's email in hopes that they come to the website to check them out. Okay. Once they're on the website, they're able to offer them a lead magnet. If they hit the website, then they're probably going to go look at leadership and go into LinkedIn and start searching there. That is the biggest thing that I want everyone to see. When we start talking about digital ecosystem, it's not just one specific thing. We're talking about your website, your LinkedIn, your email. And if one person enters on your LinkedIn, they're most likely going to go to your website. And once they hit the website, we need to be able to engage them to capture that email to send them down into a funnel. A lot of people like to say, oh, they got a lead magnet. Here's your lead magnet. Great, we're done. But we need to continue to nurture it and nurture them through the sequence. So my favorite sequence of all time is when you capture their email for a lead magnet, send them 3 nurture emails. Take the content that's out of the lead magnet, restate it in an email, break it in 3 chunks, send 3 emails, then send 1 ask. Okay. They don't respond to that ask, send another 3 emails that nurture them through the lead magnet. They downloaded that lead magnet for a reason. They just need a reminder that they need to go use that lead magnet. Okay. Once they're through that nurture sequence, what is their next step on their journey? So you solve their one problem with the lead magnet. What is after they solve that problem, what is going to be their next problem? What journey can you take them on to continue the conversation, to bring them in? Do you want them to say, do you want to lead them into, hey, I know now's not a good time, but let's connect on LinkedIn. Let's follow each other on LinkedIn. Here's my link, click here, get them further down into your ecosystem. Okay. So that was a lot of information. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open it up to Q&A. Ask me anything about digital marketing. I'm happy. I'm going to drop once I find the chat again, because I just minimized. Stop share. There we go. I'm going to drop a CFO digital playbook into the chat for you guys. Let me open that up real quick. I'm going to take you really quick through it. Sure. Okay. So if we take a look through this, your first page is going to be your digital ROI tracking playbook. Know your numbers first. What is your current status? What is your website conversion rate right now? And what is our goal? This takes us back to the beginning of the presentation. We always want to know the goal and the current status. So that way we can create that map to get to the goal. I've included several important percentages that you need to figure out, cost per lead, program ads, and all that good stuff. Now, the next part, your cheat sheet. Where am I going to find these numbers? I gave you a quick glance of, okay, if we're looking for website conversion rate, we need to be going to Google Analytics and looking at our goals and conversions. And this is going to tell us how many website visitors are turning into leads if we have these goals and conversions set up correctly. What is our percentage of traffic from SEO? Let's look at Google Analytics, and we're going to be looking at acquisition and organic search. LinkedIn engagement rate. Everyone likes to look at impressions. How many impressions did we get on our LinkedIn engagement? We don't want to look at impressions. Impressions are kind of outdated. What we do want to look at is how many reactions, shares, comments, how are they engaging? Because if they're not engaging, we're not putting the right content out. Emails, we want to be looking at click-through rate. Everyone likes to look at open rate. Open rates are skewed ever since Apple launched some privacy tactics. Apple will automatically, if it lands in their inbox, will automatically say that this email was open. So when we send emails, we always want to have an action to click through. And we want to look at how is our click-through rate. For those, you're going to be going to your email platform, whether it's HubSpot or MailChimp, and you'll be looking at your click reports. And then lastly, if you're running ads, we're going to be looking at cost per lead. And we're going to be looking at that journey to how the engagement, the attraction, and the conversion to see how we can close that off. So if you're actually working with a CMO and you're saying, hey, we're working on our website project, I'm seeing that our website conversion rate is low. These are questions that you can ask them to prompt them to go take action on something. So if your RFQ forms are they easy to find, or are they hard to complete? Let's simplify the forms. Let's move them to where a high traffic space, and let's make sure that we have CTAs. So each of these I gave scenarios of, hey, is your LinkedIn engagement rate low? Let's take a look at this. Are our sales and marketing teams actively using it? And let's set some KPIs. Down at the bottom, as you go into these manufacturing companies, I gave you, okay, what is your role in the digital strategy? Let's start with your numbers. We need to look at our website as a cost, not an asset. And that should be all of your digital strategy. And then next steps is identify one metric per quarter that you want to improve, whether it's in your LinkedIn, whether it's your website, whether it's your email. Where are we going to improve and close these gaps to get you closer to that sales conversation? So if you have any questions, I did leave my QR code at the end.